Hello, and welcome to Casual Shenanigans Gaming, a podcast about all things PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, JERMgaming, and I am joined tonight by Joel.
What's up, guys?
Dave.
Hey guys, I am Dave, the not so evil Viking 13.
Yoshi.
Howdy, howdy.
And also joining us, but without a webcam, is Mark, newcomer
Hello.
to the DayZ group.
I'm Mark.
Yes, you are. Yes, hi Mark. Okay, so we're going to start the news with easily the most boring story of the week, and that is Microsoft is going to be changing DirectX to be more like Mantle, because they probably feel threatened now that someone else has decided to make a product like theirs. But they've created a new Twitter account called DirectX 12, and they've teased a big announcement taking place at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco in a couple weeks' time. Hopefully, DirectX 12 won't mean you have to, upgrade to Windows 9 or something, but we'll see. But, yeah. So, DirectX 12. Please, no one have anything to chime in on that so we can just move on.
I actually have one thing.
Great.
API news.
When did DirectX 11 come out?
3 years ago?
2009.
I feel like we haven't even gotten to the limit of DirectX 11.
Well,
I believe it was 2009.
Yeah, I mean, it's old. It's been around for a while. Yeah, I mean, maybe we have, maybe we haven't.
I think.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Let's all contradict each other.
What's important is no one knows.
1997.
If only there was some way we could figure this out quickly and accurately. Some kind of research-like material. I don't know.
No, we
maybe
don't
a
have time for
book.
that. Moving on. Batman: Arkham Knight has been announced, and they've announced that Gotham is going to be 5 times bigger than Arkham City. So I liked Arkham City. Arkham City was decently big. Did anyone else play it?
I did.
Not yet.
Yeah, I did.
I played a little bit.
I beat the first and second game.
Okay.
I have not played Origins, though.
I have
Okay.
Origins. I have not played it yet.
I hear that it's really crummy. Plenty of people have said it's really crummy. I haven't personally played it though, so I guess I can't speak
Which
to
one?
it.
Arkham Origins?
Yeah, the newer one.
Yeah.
It was developed by a different studio, I know that.
It was just WB is the only one that took care of it. Rocksteady didn't do anything. But the new one will have Rocksteady in it.
Cool.
Since it's before Joker and all that stuff, I wasn't really interested. I don't really know that many of the other random bad guys or villains.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Joker was in Origins, or supposed to be.
Not that I know of. The first and second one was really good. The second one ended on a sadder note.
There was I know that I remember people talking about how both the new voice actors who played Batman and Joker were both rip-offs of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. So I think Joker was in it just to a lesser degree than Arkham City.
Cool.
Almost certain.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that too, but I don't really remember anything about it.
Thank you, Invisible Mark.
Hi to everyone hopping into Twitch chat. I like Twitch chat a lot more. And yeah, Headshot made a good point in chat. Yeah, this is our 40th episode of CSG. So I don't know. Congratulations to everybody. It's a weird anniversary, I guess. We made
Hey
it
guys,
another 10.
we're still talking about games 2 years later.
In another 10
The
episodes, it'll be better. I guess. I don't know.
50th anniversary is going to be so special. It's going to be the HD update of the podcast.
Please, if this podcast was ever actually in HD, that'd be amazing. Not awful Google Hangouts or raped your mic or your video quality HD.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
can watch our crappy webcam videos in
No.
HD.
Dave, you know how I feel, and every YouTuber feels about the video quality on YouTube, where they take your beautiful content and then just murder it. Do you know what our Google Hangouts video bitrate is?
I download it occasionally. Let me actually see if I have any of the videos on hand. Well,
Last one I downloaded was 1.2 megabit a second for 720p HD. That's not
It's
even
sad
good
that-
enough for standard def.
That's actually higher than I expected because Google is only 3 megabit. I mean, YouTube's only 3 megabit, so that's
for
actually
1080p. That's for 1080p.
true. So is it 720p less than that on YouTube then?
It is, but
1.5
1.2
maybe?
is horrible. Like 3
I'm
megabit
saying-
per
yeah,
second.
it's definitely horrible, but it could be worse. And it's still, I mean, I think that says more about how bad YouTube is. Than
Oh,
anything
definitely,
else.
definitely.
Like,
It most certainly
it
is.
makes me sad.
Okay, Watch Dogs, was delayed for a couple months. It's coming out on May 27th. Did one of you guys who bought a PS4, did you get the Watch Dogs bundle?
I did.
Ah,
No,
so
I didn't.
are you still excited for Watch Dogs?
Wasn't there like some? I haven't read anything else about it like since I pre-ordered my PS4, but like apparently isn't it not like going to be all it was supposed to be cracked up to be?
Haha, there's some controversy this week with Watch Dogs. The release date is May 27th now, and they released a fresh trailer to get hype up about the game, but then the first thing people mentioned was, hey, this doesn't look nearly as good as everything we were led to believe.
Oh no.
They were showing PS4. It was like a PS4 gameplay, and it does not look anywhere close to as good as the initial release stuff. Now, the initial release stuff was on a PC. I mean, all games in development.
On probably several PCs.
Well, it was probably on like a PC running like SLI Titans or something. That's just generally how that goes.
Exactly.
Because the games aren't optimized yet, so they need something that can brute force an Xbox 360 game, and they want it to look good. But yeah, it doesn't, like, even the art style doesn't look quite as good as everything we've seen before. So there's some people getting a little bit worried now that maybe the game is not going to be as good as it's supposed to be. But we don't know yet. It was just one trailer, and it's kind of hard to tell from trailers, but we can tell at least that the game doesn't look quite as, like, the lighting model and stuff isn't quite as realistic, which is a bit of a bummer for Watch Dogs, but then that makes me more worried about The Division, because, like, the most amazing thing about The Division is the incredible graphics we've seen from that one super, super short section. So if there's a chance that that's, if they're running things off similar engines, I don't know. This may be like a little bit of paranoia, but they're not in the similar engines?
No, the Snowdrop engine is what's running The Division. That is completely built from the ground up for next-gen and PC, even though it was originally only going to be next-gen consoles, but people petitioned for the PC version.
Okay.
And Watch Dogs, I feel like the PC version is going to look like what they showed originally. So that's initially what I was going to get it for, was PC anyway.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, we definitely get it for, if you're going to get it for PC. I mean,
I only got that bundle just because, like...
Well, out of all the bundles available, that would have been a good one, especially if it actually came out at launch.
Yeah, that's like, even as far as my interest in the game goes, it was just... I was the most interested in that game as a launch title more than anything.
Right.
If it ends up being good, I'll get it, of course, but I'm not, like, keeping track of it now.
Well, do you automatically... I mean, are you still going to get it, or did they refund your money?
They just refunded my money.
Okay. All right, Titanfall is coming out very soon. Some people are already playing Titanfall, using a little bit of a workaround with the beta exe. So, all of you guys, let us know how well it's working, because that's the thing holding me off from buying it, is I'm nervous about those launch day or launch week servers and the traditional EA quality.
I should post a video tomorrow with my old beta footage. I've actually posted no videos yet, and label it like exclusive Titanfall review. And have all beta footage.
But yeah, anyone who's playing it, let me know how it's been running for you. Now, they have announced a season pass for DLC. There's going to be a bunch of map packs for it.
Isn't it expensive DLC too? Like,
no,
$20
for the season pass. It's about normal for the number of DLC. Like, I think actually Call of Duty is a little more expensive than that normally. Okay. It's about right.
It's
on.
less expensive than Battlefield Premium.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's $20.
The whole thing is $70.
Yeah.
Yeah. Digital Deluxe is $80.
Package?
If you get the Digital Deluxe, it's $80.
Yeah. Now, here's
that's not
something
bad.
that concerns me, and this is where I'm going back to the whole, EA, back to your old tricks. They said, we're going to do, all right, this is Respawn's Vince Zampella. He said, we're going to do paid DLC. We're also going to do free updates. Here's where it gets weird. There are things we want in the game that we didn't get to ship in the final game. We'll add private matches and things like that for free. Now, does that sound to anyone else like there's a chance that this game isn't done yet?
Not sure entirely.
Because
possibly, but so far it ran buttery smooth.
DLC is fine. DLC just means that they are going to add things to it. But
I think, well,
But free updates makes it sound like there's. Well, they said there's things that we wanted to have in the game, but we didn't have time to put in.
But that happens to like every game, even games in the past before DLC and updates. You know, I mean, we have gotten to the norm now where like things like freaking Battlefield, where you go, yeah, you know, there was a ton of crap withheld because they want to sell it later. Right. But there are a lot of games that are like, okay, we have 3 years to make this, we made a solid game, but we really want to do this. But they can release it later because they have time, because it's a multiplayer game. If it was a single player game, sometimes it doesn't happen as much. You know, if they're just locked down, or if they're like Nintendo games, like they're going to be locked down, you're probably not going to see any kind of future updates that are going to fully enhance the game or add stuff. But nowadays they can, so I don't think all the time it is. I mean, I hope it's that case, but...
I'm going to agree with Joel here. I mean, cutting features as deadlines approach and release dates approach has always been a factor of game development. It's just that we used to not hear about it. It used to be once the game launched, whatever it launched as was it. Right. Now there is the opportunity to expand that. But at the same time, other companies have taken that as a license to cut features and sell them later, like we've seen in some recent Total War games, for example. Like elephants and stuff like that found in the game files at launch that maybe didn't quite make the cut. They're like, well, let's just polish that up real quick. $4 DLC. So we have examples of both. Hopefully it's the good kind of like, this wasn't important enough to make the final cut, but we thought it wasn't quite crappy enough to just totally trash and just get rid of it.
Right.
It could be a thing like that.
I don't know. I guess I've been bitten enough times by EA in particular in the past year. Like, we can keep narrowing this down. That I'm just a little bit worried that like Respawn was maybe trying to add more stuff and maybe delay it, and EA was like, "No, we got to get it in now." Like, I almost like when did they announce the release date for Titanfall? Like, has that been set in stone for 6 months?
They announced it, I believe, a little bit after the consoles were released.
Okay, so after Battlefield 4 came out to a bad reviews?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what happened. It just seems like the timing's convenient. It's possible EA called them up and was like, hey guys, you need to start wrapping this thing now. I mean,
yeah,
do you think there's a chance? I think there's a chance.
That's an interesting
I don't know. I think they just really wanted to put a lot of time in to make sure multiplayer would work properly, rather than, focus on having the private matches put in.
I hope that's all it is. I mean, there's
that
nothing wrong with adding features later. Like, there's really no problem with that. You could always have ideas all the way up until the release and be like, okay, we'll just, we'll release a patch of these cool new modes later. There's nothing wrong with that. There's just that part of me that's nervous. And that's why I'm waiting. But...
that smile. That's why I'm waiting.
Another funny Titanfall thing. Okay, there's 50 gigs of space required for the install, 48 gigs. And
textures.
people, well, no, actually. People who have installed it...
It's a 10-gig game, 40 gigs of DLC that's waiting to be unlocked.
Not quite, not quite. But people have gone digging because they don't really understand, especially because the beta was about 12 gigs, which should theoretically include most of the art assets, right? It turns out like 30 gigs of that is audio.
Oh.
Lots of different language packs, all the different audio stuff they're using apparently takes up a crazy amount. Now, this is kind of internet conjecture, so it's important to, make the division between stuff that we know to be true and internet rumors. And this
They're both true.
This is kind of an internet rumor right now of people picking apart the game files who've already preloaded it or installed it. So, I have not done that, so I'm saying I can't verify this for you, but it does seem to be the consensus that there's like 30, 35 gigs of audio in there, which is crazy, considering, I don't know, I just don't get, like, how could you have that much audio? But maybe, do you think they would do all waves? I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. It bounced, like, what was it? Dead Space 3 on Xbox was 3 discs, and I'm like, Skyrim is 1 disc, and I'm like... I mean, I couldn't tell, like, I was like, is it that much more audio or just a bazillion texture? But I'm like, but still, 3 discs for, like, a 10-hour game. Bet. But, yeah, but, like, 10-hour game to, like, a massive... I don't know, it just kind of blew my mind. I was like, it must be just really high-quality audio and textures compared to... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a funny little thing.
And, on that note, I do hope in the future... especially even with the PS4, like when you download a game now, you can say, would you like to play single player or multiplayer first? And it will download that specifically. I hope sometime in the future, Steam and Origin, they all start doing something similar, but also maybe saying, like, are you English? Yes, or whatever. You speak French? Yes. Then you don't have to download that other stuff. Like, why would you need to download that if, depending on where you're buying it? That would be kind of a nice. Then you'd be like, it saves you 20 gigs.
I think localization is pretty common for games. Like in Battlefield 4, as broken as it is, you don't download the Russian audio set when you buy the English copy of the game. So I'm not sure why there would be a bunch of different like language wave files or audio files in the game. That's strange to me.
They must know you're gonna like it so much. You're just gonna travel around playing everywhere, being like, "Oh, I gotta show you the game. I gotta show you the game."
Titanfall, expand your horizons.
Horizons.
Okay.
I get that joke.
Thankfully, I don't. Okay. So, Electronic Arts Chief Creative Officer, Rich Hilleman, whose hairstyle makes him look like a crazy homeless person. No judgment. Was actually pretty...
Says JERMgaming.
What's that supposed to mean?
Your haircut is definitely cutting edge Euro.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't just cut it all off. Maybe I have to have a nice haircut because I can't grow a beard, and maybe you shouldn't rub it in.
Keep me warm.
I actually had lunch with a good friend of mine this week. He lives out of state now, but he's been able to grow a beard since like 15. And we've been friends since we were like 5, literally. And so this has been kind of rubbed in my face for the past 10 years. But he's got like the most stereotypical tactical operator beard, like, that you've ever seen in pictures of SF guys or something. Like it's down to here and it's real thick and stuff. And he kind of waxes it up some. And
does he have the yellow glasses to match the operator look?
He doesn't. The operator look ends there.
You can't operate with your beard without your operator glasses.
Okay, anyway, this guy from EA said something.
Wow, that was a tangent.
Yeah, he said, hold on, where is it? Right here. This might explain a little bit of why EA hasn't been incredibly apologetic about Battlefield 4. They've kind of played it off as some people are upset, but, you can't please everybody. Well, he said, we watch our forums a lot because we care what our players have to say. And on some of those forums we're responsible for, one of the things we've learned is that the people who spend the most time complaining happen to be the people who spend the most money. So my attitude is, if you spend enough money with me, you get to complain. If that's what makes you happy, is to go on the forums and complain, you get to complain. So basically what he's saying is, you're complaining, but you bought it, so... I mean,
maybe they're complaining because they spent $120 on a product that they had an expectation was finished.
Yeah, well,
and functional.
Again, but he's kind of saying like, yeah, but the people who complain, they spend a lot of money, so they have the right to complain. He didn't say like, yeah, their complaints are rarely valid and we dropped the ball. He says, yeah, you've earned that right to complain. You've purchased that right. I don't know. That doesn't sit well with me.
This is that right comes free in America.
What'd you say, Mark?
That right comes free in America.
The right to complain.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we fought for, was the right to complain about all the other countries that we hadn't yet subjugated.
Right.
Okay, we'll move on. Sapphire. Joel, you're really going to like this because you like complaining about the memory in graphics cards for whatever reason. But anytime we mention it, you seem to take it oddly personal. So
how dare they improve hardware?
Okay, so the Sapphire R9 290X is one of the best video cards on the market. You can get those things up to past 780 Ti's, like with a decent cooler. Not an overclocked 780 Ti, but if you ever can find a 290X for the retail price, good luck, Bitcoiners. But you can actually, it's an amazing card for the money. Well, Sapphire, one of the best AMD board retailers, have announced their R9 290X Vapor X edition with, wait guys, wait for it, 8 gigabytes of memory. 8.
Whoa.
8.
What?
They say this is completely designed for 4K gaming. It will be a limited edition. They have not.
Oh, they're catching up to the PS4. That's good.
All right, there's so much does not understand in that statement. I don't know what.
I think I saw sparks fly out of Jeremiah's ears there.
There is so much understanding. There's just so much that I knew you would do from that statement.
So many emotions rolled across his face in like 5 seconds. Like.
Well, six gigs. That's pretty good. 6 gigs is pretty big. So
yeah, but
most video cards are not 6 gig.
This is 8.
PC's finally getting over a console. That's good.
No, I don't. Ugh. I know you're trolling. I know you're trolling. But
honestly, though, it does have 6 gigs. How many video cards people now have 6
It has
gigs?
8. What are you talking about?
I'm saying PS4.
I thought it
has 8, but it uses about.
That's shared.
6.
That's shared between
I know.
the system.
Joel,
I know.
You can't compare the two like that.
I know that, but I'm saying it's got 6 though. It's got 6 for making graphics happen.
I know I can't compare it, guys, but I'm comparing it.
There's no comparison, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it anyway. Welcome to the Nightly News. This is CNN.
Oh. Shots fired.
Okay. Anyway, DayZ, new experimental patch. Experimental patch is cool. They have added such things as the Ruger 1022 22 caliber rifle, the Ruger Mark 22 internally suppressed handgun. They have added very dapper coats and hats. For those of you who wish to dress up like an English sport hunting gentleman, you can.
You're missing the most important additions, Jeremiah.
The 1911.
M1911 and CZ75. Oh, excuse me, CR75.
Both of Dave's handguns are now in game. The Beretta M9, my handgun, is not in game yet. I'm not bitter.
Actually, that needs to be coming soon too, because
it's like the most popular handgun in the world.
Well, in addition, DayZ takes place 3 years after the events of Arma 2 when NATO was in Chernarus, so there ought to be M9s everywhere.
Okay. This is an experimental, so this is not released yet. They have not implemented the physics system just yet. That's still not back. But they've added, like, you can paint your M4 green. You can now paint SKS's green, and it breaks the ammunition again. You can paint the Blaze 95 rifle, which is still the most amazing rifle name ever.
What are the Blaze 420?
Yeah. But yeah, it's a cool new experimental patch. It also seems to improve our performance a little bit. We all seem to have gotten a slight boost. So far, so good. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that because that's not one of our main topics for tonight. But
I do want to mention, though,
yes,
the plans for March.
All right, go ahead. Yes. DayZ Survival Month.
Yeah, the patch has been called like the Gungasm patch. They added like 5 firearms in one patch.
Weird, excessively weird name.
That's Reddit for you. Excessively weird hashtag. But the plans for March, I'm very excited about because it is Survival Month. They're working on persistent objects like notes and backpacks first. They talked about that a while back, actually, but it's coming hopefully this month. Physics, cooking, hunting, campfires are coming back. I'm actually really excited about campfires. Somebody was asking on Reddit, like, I can't wait for the campfires to come back. He had like a photo of his character with like the cool looking lantern, which actually casts dynamic light now in game. He's like in like a cabin out in the woods with his lantern and like his backpack. And Dean replied to the post and he was like, we actually just like finished working on campfires. He's like, holy crap, they're awesome. So I'm pumped.
Fire, guys, fire.
It's just like the sense of camaraderie. It reminds me of Stalker, like sitting around the campfire in the thunderstorm and just surviving. Hashtag just surviving stuff.
Scanner, in relation to what you just said in the chat, do you really want to play DayZ with any of the guns from Battlefield 4? See, like in Battlefield, we have hit registration. We have everything is kind of synced up except for your inventory.
You haven't tried the AWS though, Jeremiah.
I've seen videos of it. I actually watched.
You've heard though.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It's nice that it starts with AW. It reminds you of the old the AWP from Counter-Strike. Like the only
insane
gun to have whole servers devoted to not being allowed to use it. That's how awesome the AWP was. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get no OS servers. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, Survival Month, DayZ. I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be cool. They're adding stuff pretty quickly. Like I feel like we're starting to get into a good juicy amount of content now.
And they doubled the team a few weeks ago too.
Yeah, so stuff maybe will start coming quicker. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be like probably a month of training or so, like 3 or 4 weeks of training, and then we'll like see a huge ramp up from there. And maybe Survival Month will get Joel back in here too, the slacker.
Hey, well, when there's a game I want to play, it won't be Battlefield. It will be Titanfall. So if you guys want to join me in that, That would be awesome.
We weren't even talking about Battlefield.
I think you guys need to be joining me, but anyway.
Joel's so confused. He's like on Reddit or something.
No. I thought you guys were talking about me not playing with you guys because I keep getting emails about that.
We
well, you also don't play Battlefield. That's
You're
true.
on the mailing list.
I'm on the mailing, yeah, but for games I don't want to play right now.
I know it's
No, it's not because of you guys. I love you.
Well,
guys
I didn't think it was.
deeply.
I never thought it was until you just said that.
Well, and just in case you did, no.
Now I'm unsure of myself.
I will say I would get on quicker if it was Durham allowing me to if he Skypes me and be like, hey, do you want to play a game? Dave Skypes me, I'm like, Daisy, I gotta do something.
I gotta edit a wedding real quick. for a month
on my Xbox real fast.
Consoles.
All right, Battlefield. My abusive girlfriend Battlefield. So they released the most recent patch, and I was all excited because I was going to play it, and it was going to suck, of course, and then I was going to uninstall Battlefield. Battlefield had already been moved from an SSD to the mechanical drive, which is like
demoted.
From there to a floppy.
Someone posted this really funny
I actually did that too.
on Reddit, r/PC Gaming, where it said, my reaction when I install a game on my SSD instead of a mechanical drive, and it shows King Xerxes from 300 saying, I am a merciful god. Which is kind of how I felt about sending Battlefield back to the mechanical hard drive. I was like, well, go to the dark corner that no one cares about. I'll take my 5-minute server load times.
Oh, it's awful.
But so I hopped in, fully expecting it to suck, and it didn't, which was really weird and unexpected. Dave and I played for like 3 hours, and I had a ton of fun, and now I just don't know what to do anymore. I mean, Dave,
play now before the next patch.
I don't know. I talked about it enough, Dave. Yeah, talk about it. I don't know, Dave.
I played a whole bunch yesterday, actually, with Scanner and Menace and Jake and Desco and all the guys.
Name dropping.
And what did we say, Jeremiah? It was Thursday we were playing.
What did we say?
We played for like 3 hours, and I'm like, I'm afraid to stop because it's so much fun, and it probably won't be this fun next time.
Yeah.
Well, guess what happened?
What happened?
It wasn't quite as fun next time. It wasn't as broken, but it wasn't like that over-the-top fun that it was. We had some good rounds, but it was the hot and cold again.
Now, because of like game issues or just luck of the draw?
I think it was server, actually. Like, some servers were really fun, and then some servers, like, every kill cam was broken. There was insta-deaths and stuff like that. We found a couple of good servers, had some good rounds on those. And also, I think Scanner pointed this out in a couple of the rounds that, and I've complained about this too in some recent videos, that there are some community members, some players, that just play like douchebags. Like, mining the exits to bases, camping in just retarded ways. There's some players that just really grind my gears.
They wrestle your jimmies.
Maximum Jimmy wrestling.
Well, all right, so
where's the sound of Jimmy wrestling? I don't even know.
I don't know either. I don't want to.
I think it's like wispy. Yeah, wispy kind of.
So what do you guys think? Like, let's say most of these people, I'm going to assume they are not enjoying the game, playing it sportsmanlike because the game has been sucking. So do you think they're just trying to get maximum enjoyment out of the game instead of moving on to play something else? Or do you think they would play like that normally?
They play like that normally.
I'm going to disagree. I think that there's a large portion of players that are just frustrated with like trying to play the game like we used to, where we get into a squad and we play the objective. The game has been so broken that hasn't been fun. So people are just screwing around and trying to like force enjoyment out of the game whenever possible, and in a lot of cases at the expense of other players.
I mean, we've done a fair amount of screwing around in Battlefield 4. Nothing like mining other people's bases, nothing cheap. But we've, just sat on hills and just, I don't know, lobbed shots at people for no reason and done stuff like that. I mean, again, for the same reasons that the game was so broken, we felt like, well, might as well, I don't know, do something.
It doesn't help, too, that there's so many new ways in Battlefield 4 to be a cheap player. Like, the additional weapon in Naval Strike, which you can already unlock and use on regular servers, is an anti-aircraft mine. Because this game needed more AA things. Yes. Here's how it works, Jeremiah. It looks like a SoFlam.
Uh-huh.
I was hoping it might be like an actual cool like mine, like maybe with this like giant wire that protrudes up like an antenna, where a chopper that flies too low like gets pegged by it and gets like insta-killed. Cool. No, it's not that cool. Instead, it's a SoFlame-looking thing with like 2 missiles, and there's a sphere of about, I'd say, 75 yards around the launcher, where when a chopper flies into it, it gets insta-killed by mobility hits. Yeah, so now there are, and it's autonomous. So you place it, and there's now another sphere of aerial denial on the map where you just go along your merry way, and choppers insta-die inside of that sphere.
Again, Battlefield, you just had to do it. You just had to do it. Like,
let me just vent for a moment.
And now we have the magic lock-on death sphere. Go ahead, Dave. Both barrels, do it.
Here we go. MBT laws, staff shells, what's the other stupid mine? Not the normal landmine,
the slam?
The slam. The freaking slams. The the AA sphere of death, both on the self-deployed autonomous I get kills for you device in a Battlefield game. This is not Call of Duty, by the way. This is still Battlefield. The mobile AA, just all of the ways they made it very, very easy for you to be a jerk to other people in the game. There's no skill involved anymore. It's let me pick my device to play the game for me.
Oh my goodness!
When when the first rocket launcher for the engineer class allows you to aim a cone of like I kind of shot it at a vehicle, and then the game's like, wait, here, hold on, I got this. Shoo, dead. Don't worry, buddy, you'll get better. When the game plays itself, you've got issues.
I don't know what to say. I've just said it so many times, but now I'm enjoying the game, so I don't know, like.
There was still fun yesterday, and like I keep saying, on paper, minus the dumb hold your hand mechanics, it should be a lot better than it is, and I just hope the EA follows through and tries to get it to where it should have been at launch. This last patch was a good step. I hope it continues.
Okay. Alright, well, we'll move on from that. Yeah,
it's always so depressing.
So, Dave, before we move on to our other topic for the evening, you are considering upgrading your computer. Why don't you,
after 4 years.
Why don't you just walk us through this joyous occasion?
It's tax refund season, guys, and I gave the federal government a huge loan last year.
Yeah, you need to adjust your withholding.
I do. I really do.
Tell me how much you got back. You got back way too much money. I mean, you gave way too much money. But
yeah, it was like
likes to get spanked by the government. It's like, yeah, harder.
If there's one thing that's I'm all about here, it's getting bent over by the government.
I liked how your voice is very non-committal when you were saying that. Like, I don't want to, but I feel like I gotta keep going.
Yeah, I got a good refund coming, and I want to sell my current 1066 parts before they're totally worthless.
Yeah, because your processor is worth so much money.
Yeah, my i7-930 is worth like $65 now, and I paid like $300 some for it. It's painful. But I want to make like a serious jump. I do a lot of 3D stuff, a lot of productivity apps, stuff like that, rendering. I think I'm going to actually go back 1 year. I do want all the new stuff like USB 3, SATA 6, PCI Express 3, but I'm looking at going to LGA 2011 platform, buying used parts, and going 6-core, 12 threads.
Oh, yeah.
I want that. I want that. It's looking pretty good, like I will be doing that in the next, hopefully a few weeks, actually. I'm very excited to, for the first time in 4 years, upgrade, because I've said it many times, I bought my i7-930 at like one of the worst times possible. I had to for a freelance project, but like 3 months later, USB 3 was finalized and all these new awesome boards came out, but it was too late for me, and so I've been stuck with a really outdated platform for 4 years now. I'm excited.
Yoshi, we're getting some bleed through on your mic, just so you're aware.
What do you mean?
I'm hearing Dave coming through your mic.
Oh.
I think your sensitivity is a bit too
Scanner,
high.
the i7-3970X, Scanner in chat has mentioned he has an i7-3970. Well, I asked him to say it, so I guess that's not. Anyway.
How dare you reply?
But, yeah, so how awesome is that for like live streaming and stuff? Does that processor pretty much just clean up? I know the 3930K is really similar to the 3970X, especially once you overclock it. There's really not a big difference. But yeah, I'm excited for you, Dave, because if it works really well for you, I might be interested.
You got me on this kick of like...
I did, because you were like,
look at this 6-core.
And I was just curious. I was like, what else can you get from Intel? And I looked up some reviews. I was like, hey, this looks like it's at the head of the pack.
And you know what actually convinced me here, Jeremiah, is a big part of this upgrade is me wanting to change my platform, my motherboard. I want more RAM than 6 gigs, and I want all those modern USB 3 features and all that stuff. But at the same time, going from a quad core with hyperthreading to another quad core with hyperthreading wouldn't be a huge jump. I mean, you have a die shrink and you have some improvements with instructions and stuff like that. It would be a definite improvement.
You'd have a good 30% improvement.
It would be noticeable, but I'm like, if I'm gonna do this upgrade after 4 years, like I might as well do it right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Plus, I want to crush Joel's computer several times over. Now that I built it for him.
Not even close, Dave. Not even close.
No, Joel. Yes, it's going to.
I told Dave in rendering in Vegas.
So
why are you making
crushes
Vegas? That's what you're editing your movie in, Joel.
I know, but I'm saying, okay,
Vegas, the thing
I'm just saying you're going to
use.
be a little bit faster than that, but I'm like, it's not going to be crushing.
It's going to be a lot faster in Vegas. A lot.
Now
Not
I'm trying to
crushing.
decide, like, if Dave's goes really well, I either want to get a 3930K or a 4930K, just depending on how things go. They're like the same price. Or build a home theater computer, because we're about to move into a real place, and then I could just like offload the rendering to that, so we could sit out in the living room with like some dual core and just cry and cry and cry for hours, and I won't care. I'm not there watching it. I mean, what do you think is a better direction? Have the super powerful one computer, or have another slave computer doing some of the work for you?
I feel like second computer has become the popular option. That seems to be a good idea for a lot of people, but for me, with the 3D apps and stuff like that, 6-core makes sense. I think for a lot of people, 6 cores does not make sense yet.
I'm just worried about going to a second computer. I'm going to lose all my multiple audio streams and stuff, which I'm really all about.
Oh, you. With all your peaking and crushed audio.
Whose mics were peaking? Was my mic peaking? I don't think my mic was peaking.
Yeah, your mic on your separate channel.
Yeah, that mic. Not peaking at all.
Maybe if you stopped rerouting audio.
Well, Yoshi, your FX 8350 is a great processor, except for on single core performance, where it is a terrible processor, which is why I sold mine. Was really just for Arma and Daisy. It just couldn't hang with it. But anyway,
I can tolerate it.
That's all of Dave's upgrade talk, although I expect to see some crazy benchmark scores coming my way soon. With your dual 680s and your 3930K.
That's the wild part is I'm sure these cars are at least partially benchmarked bottlenecked right now, so...
Do good with this power.
Yeah. I can spend all this money on my platform upgrade and not my graphics cards, so I'm
Dave's
excited.
going to save the world.
We have one more bit of... Oh, sorry, Dave. You were about to say something.
I was just going to say, I want to hear some feedback, too, from you other techies out there. Like, what do you think about going to an older platform, but going 6 cores? I want to hear some other thoughts.
This isn't even that much older a platform. People still buy 3570Ks all the time. That's what I'm running. I mean, it's same generation. Different socket, same generation.
That was the other point, too, is that, what was the refresh last year? LGA, what? I don't even know.
I don't remember. They have so many different ones.
It was a tick and not a talk. It was a die shrink with very minor improvements. So this really isn't a dead platform. It's just older. So.
All right. So we're going to segue into one of our last topic for the evening, with talking about Dark Souls 2. A little bit of news on Dark Souls 2. They released the minimum and recommended system specs, and they are incredibly reasonable. The minimum specs are Windows XP, which, like, this has got to be one of the last games to support that. A Phenom X2 or a Core 2 Duo E8500. So sorry, Mark, your processor's an E8400, so you're...
I already checked. Yeah.
No, it would run it fine, because yours is overclocked. 2 gigs of RAM, a 9600 GT GeForce, or a Radeon HD 5870, and 8 gigs of hard drive space. That's the minimum. Recommended is Windows 7, an i3 3 gigahertz dual core, 4 gigs of RAM, a GTX 465, and the same 8 gigs of hard drive space. So that's not much. That's a mid-range computer from 3 years ago. And you can run Dark Souls 2 on some of the higher settings. So that's pretty cool. I mean, is that probably because Dark Souls 2 is going to be a crummy console port? Who knows? But Dark Souls 1 was a crummy console port. And that's our main topic for the evening. Our last topic for the evening is, even though Dark Souls is a crummy PC port, Joel, you've been getting into it a lot lately and enjoying it, right?
Yeah, well, okay, I actually picked up Demon Souls, which is the first in the series, maybe 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I tried it for 30 minutes, and I was like, what the crap is this bull crap? I took it back immediately. I was like, what the heck? Because I got maybe about an hour in, and then I died, and I was literally back at the very start of the game. I was like, wait, what? What the heck is this? So I was like, all right, well then my friend Eric from work, he has it on Xbox. So I was like, all right, I'll get this. He was talking about it one day, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I played with him a couple months back, and we got a little bit farther, and he was just kind of walking me through it. He was trying not to spoil anything, and I wasn't really sure what you could actually spoil with this game. But anyways, he was just trying to give me general hints where to go, just so I could try to like the game at least, because maybe if I like it, I would keep playing it. Well, we kind of got a little bit far, and I still didn't really like it that much because I still didn't understand it. The controls feel really clunky and blah, 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 blah.
Someone trying to play a Souls game and only getting a little bit into it and not liking it and giving up. Why does that sound familiar, Jeremiah?
Yeah. Let Joel talk. We're not talking about me right now. Joel, keep going, buddy.
So anyways, no. And I felt exactly like how Jeremiah is feeling as well. But anyways, for the last week, I was like, I'll play it again, because I've been watching the Dark Souls 2 video, or just reviews, or not reviews, but just gameplay and stuff. And the creators are saying that the start of the game, they've really redone so that it's not easy, but just that it helps you push you in a direction of, okay, this is what this game's like. It allows you to like the game first before it completely just annihilates you. And that, for the first game, Dark Souls, the very start is so confusing. You don't know what anything's for, You have rooms and locked doors where it's just like, wait, what do I use, and how do I use the buttons, and what the crap? So I was like, oh, I'll keep playing because I really want to play Dark Souls 2. I was like, all right, so I'll just play a little bit more of Dark Souls 1. So this week I got on, and Eric helped me get me past the first boss. And I thought the first boss was like the first couple enemies. But we got past the first boss, and holy crap, the game is freaking incredible now. Like, it all of a sudden it snaps. It's kind of like watching a certain TV show. Like, for me, it was Supernatural. Like, the first season is literally crap poop. But the second season's like, wait, this is really good.
Really?
Like,
because when I was at your house in November, you were watching a recent episode, and it was terrible. It was so bad. It was very bad. That show is terrible.
Seasons 2 through 5 are good.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'd say like the second half of season 2.
Yeah, there's some campy episodes.
Oh, that's where I gave up on Supernatural, was the first half of season 2.
No, there's some campy episodes, and it's just that kind of show. I mean, it's a CW show, so everyone's kind of... But, literally, if you get to the first couple episodes of season 2, it becomes so good, we're like, whoa, where'd this come from? So, yeah, for like the last 3 days, I think I've put like 15 or 16 hours in. Like, it is just like all I can think about and play right now, because it's like the Zelda I've always wanted. And I didn't realize, like...
I heard someone compare
things just start making sense. You're like, oh, okay, so you can ask this person, and after you defeat people, you can come back to them, and they'll tell you a little bit more. And you're like, oh, okay, now I know where to go. But I just got through... Like, there's this, like, swampy area I went through, and it was the most atmospheric, like I don't know. It reminded me of playing DayZ the first time a little bit, where it's like... It's so hardcore, but once you start understanding the controls, they're actually freaking good controls. Like, you get really good at it, and it doesn't feel sloppy anymore. You're like, okay, that makes sense. This makes sense. Or, some things are still just a buggy early first game, but man, the game is really good. Like,
is a swampy area Blighttown?
No.
Okay, because that sucks for me.
I just got there. That's the place where I just got. But yeah, no, I absolutely do not want to spoil anything, because Eric's been good about not spoiling, and I'm glad he hasn't, because there's been moments where it's like, oh shoot, holy crap. You're just freaking out, because like, they'll set such good traps for you, and you're like, oh, okay, oh, look, it's loot. Wait a second. Okay, I'm going to be careful, walk around. You, like, grab the loot, nothing happens, and all of a sudden, like, they drop down above or whatever, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and the battles feel so freaking epic, and I was just... Has anyone played the Shadow of the Colossus?
Yes.
Yes!
It reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus. That's what's reminding me of.
I've heard someone compare it to like Zelda mixed with Resident Evil, so like Zelda and
Yeah,
Hell.
yeah.
Oh man, that makes it sound really good. Wait, which Resident Evil? Resident Evil 4?
Well, they didn't specify.
Okay, because that could, that could
just
be
the
bad.
kind of like inventory management, the kind of like you got to be really sparing. Like each encounter is really terrifying. But now, now I'm kind of leveling up, and I've got a lot. Like I have this like spear or like a axe spear. I don't know what to call it. And it's like my favorite weapon. But you have to level up strength. So if your strength is at like an 18, and the sword or the axe, you need it to wield it with 2 hands instead of just one. Like you kind of like just really like lugging it around. But now I've leveled my strength up a little higher, so now I'm just like taking names now. So are you just with normal stuff, and then you walk into newer and like, oh yeah, I'm the boss over here, and you get slammed down. You're like, son of a gun.
So you're doing a strength build, I guess? Like, is that what you're focusing on the most?
I'm not doing any kind of build. I'm just trying to survive. Like, I named my character, and sorry offensive, but my character's name is Bitch. That was my first name. This is my first character and only character, so I was like, I know this game's gonna be hard. I'm just gonna already line it up correctly.
Okay, my interest is now piqued, honestly, Joel, because I've always enjoyed games that punish you almost for playing, like Stalker, Daisy, anything that just has that element where at first you
46 minutes into the podcast before Dave mentions Stalker.
Continue. No, well, I do have it on PC,
so
I would totally be up for playing with you guys. But you have to get to a point to be able to play together to get some items. So, like, the start is so like relentless, it's ridiculous, and it's just like so confusing. Where it did help me with Eric just to tell me, but now after he's told me, now I don't need his help anymore because I understand. Okay, this is the kind of game it is. Like if you can't get through a door, you just explore somewhere else. But where the game when I first played, it felt like one of those things where you could be hacking an enemy with a sword, and you're going, oh, I'm never going to kill it. Why can't I kill it? Oh, this sword needs to be a magical sword to kill it. Where I would never, like, I don't know, some game...
The skeletons?
Like some game you just would never think that, so you just be thinking, oh, I suck at the game, Because it doesn't tell you it doesn't give any clues or anything. But now, I'm like at the point where, okay, I understand the kind of progression, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and, oh, dude, it's fantastic, and... Just earlier, I was like fighting some random knight, and I was like, "Yeah, I almost got him." I did a backflip off a cliff. I was like, "Son of a gun!"
I'm thinking I need to have Mark come over and just sit next to me and go, "No, don't do that. Nope, go there. Why are you so bad at this?" And then just explain to me what to do properly. What's your hourly?
And then I'll do it for Stalker
Mark?
For you, Jeremiah.
What's your hourly rate, Mark?
I mean, just I'll do it for free because I basically owe you about, I don't know, $500 at this point for all the free crap you've done for me and like given me. So I don't know.
Jeremiah's like, oh, cha-ching.
Wait till I'm in my new place and you can actually pull a chair up next to me. Right now, it's kind of a one-chair town.
I can just like lean over you.
Oh, come on, that's what laps are for.
I don't even like it when my wife does that. Yes, I did check to see if she wasn't in here before I said that.
Who are you kidding, Jeremiah? You can hear that anywhere in your domicile.
No, she's nowhere in here. Nowhere in here.
Oh, okay.
No, but Dave, I would definitely suggest you give it a shot. Like,
give it several shots.
It's like I think you would feel it's a little bit like Witcher 1 and 2, or like the controls a little bit.
I'm more excited now.
It's just that the controls I think are way better than that game, at least the first and second game, where it just feels weird at first. But then,
because you suck as a character too.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't understand. Like, oh yeah, like I can't, like my character's like going, ugh, I can barely swing something. And I'm like, oh, I get stronger. Then like you can wield 2-hand, 1-hand, and I've got different armor and stuff. And it feels like.
Let's be honest though, Joel.
There's no music and stuff.
I think you're the only person I've ever heard like really get stuck on the Witcher 2 controls. At least after that first big patch. I don't know what it is with you and the Witcher 2 controls.
I got like 10 hours in, but I guess, I don't know, I wasn't really connecting too much with the story as well. And the gameplay wasn't as exciting to keep me.
You gotta read the books, and then it'll just suck you right in.
Really? Because I read the books, I didn't think they were nearly as good as the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, there are some translation issues, but I really enjoyed the books.
I mean, I almost beat the first one. I got really, really, really far, and then my character I was on like normal or hard or something, and I couldn't get it past a part at all. Like I couldn't at all. I was stuck. My save files were like stuck in one area. I couldn't reload
but
earlier.
You're enjoying Dark Souls?
No, it was because well, I mean, I could best like now. I feel like that game would be freaking easy if I went back to it. But
a lot of people said it's a lot easier than Demon Souls.
Oh yeah. I guess Demon Souls is a lot easier than this one, but oh, dude, it's just
the other way around.
There's one area you walk through this little thing to fight like a boss, and Eric's like, all right, good luck. He's like, you might want to use such and such attack. I was like, all right, okay. You walk through the door. I mean, immediately this music starts going, da 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 da, and this thing
it's like Zelda.
This thing like launches at you like right away. Like there's no like, oh hey, I'm the boss, let's fight. No, it's like immediately jump upon you like in your eyes. I'm like dead in a second. I'm like, holy freaking crap. But it's also so challenging and fun, though. Like, when you beat a boss, it's like, yes!
Well, it's pretty hilarious, too. Like, the second boss of the game, it's like, oh, man, I'm almost done killing it, and it's been, I'm about to get that glorious you defeated, and then a second one shows up. And it's just like,
nice.
No. There are multiple bosses that double team you, and it's unpleasant.
Yeah, there's so many good secrets. I hope you guys play it just so you can experience some of the areas, the little towns I went through, and I was just like, oh, this is such a cool area, and like you feel safe for like a second, and then you're dead. Like you just gotta be always on your toes. Where it's like a little door open, I'm like, nothing happened there. Immediately, I'm stabbed in the back. Like what the crap?
So Joel, Mark. We've heard what Joel has to say about Dark Souls.
Sounds like me and Daisy.
What would you say, like, to someone, let's say me, who's played some Dark Souls, beat the first, like, tutorial boss, and now has just gotten lost or confused or whatever and hasn't come back to it? Why should I keep playing this?
Well, if you want to... I mean, you can't grow a beard, so this is like your last chance to be seen as a man in my eyes.
Oh, you're hitting me when it really hurts.
No, I mean, I'm not even, like, done yet. I have about 2 or 3 zones left, so... I mean, I'm not even, like, an expert. The light of expertmanship won't reach me for a million years at this point.
But you've made me interested in trying it again.
I mean, I can't really say anything that Joel hasn't already said. Like, it's just once you actually get addicted to it, which is, I'd say, I mean, it took a few hours for me, I guess. It wasn't right after I beat the Asylum Demon, because you've already passed that, and you obviously still were not into it.
Yeah, sorry, I guess not that mission. It's the on top of the church.
That's the one I was.
That's about like maybe 4 hours in. Like, I mean, I liked it, but it was still like relentless, and I was just understanding things. But once I got past that part, there was a few areas that opened up that I felt like I was really exploring some really amazing place. And that reminded me of being a kid again.
Really cool is like once you get to that point where you start opening up all those shortcuts, and you like realize how awesomely it's designed. Like how it's like, whoa, that ladder goes to this part of the game, and I was like looking at that part from a distance earlier, and then I can get to it from here. It's like it's really cool. I'd say like once you actually start getting to the point where, you know, you find a blacksmith, you can start reinforcing your weapons, your armor, upgrading your character more so you don't like move like, you know, super slow in every single thing that you do.
Yeah, I would consider the first, like, getting a new upgrade for a sword. It feels like the first time getting, like, an M4 in DayZ, where you're like, oh, I feel so badass now. You know, like, it feels like that, and then you feel like, all right, I can take on some of these dudes now.
Right now, I have a +5 lightning. I don't know how to pronounce it because it's like a German word, but like Zweihander. It's a two-handed sword. So like when I two-hand that and I use the heavy attack, it one-shots almost anything. And it's so satisfying. But yeah, like I would just say like once you actually get to the point where you are, you know, upgrading more and like getting more and more badass, like you never get to the point where you're like you feel invulnerable or like, that you're just dominating, because you can get killed by just about any low-level enemy if you're not careful. Like, it's even this far into the game, like almost at the end, I only have like one Lord Soul left I have to get, and I think I can face the final boss, but like you always feel challenged from the beginning to the end. But yeah, I would just say push through and feel. You may be able to grow a beard after you finish. I don't know.
Why? Because it'll take so long. I'll have just aged enough that I can do it. Well, my dad can start growing a beard pretty well when he's about 27. So maybe I've got a couple more years to go, and then I can pull it off.
Yeah,
puberty's tough, isn't it?
It's probably a mixture of that and just the the sheer fact that I think the amount of rage that you'll experience will probably expedite that as well. Veins will bulge.
I will say, I feel like the rage, it first started as just like absolute annoyance. Then it got to a point where I was like, okay, you're gonna die in the game. But then it just became fun to figure out how not to die. Instead of going, oh, I died, I gotta start over. It was like, that was pretty good. That was a good death.
There's something so terrifying and heart-pounding about like just defeating a boss and then like having to work your way to a bonfire and then like having some low-level piece of junk kill you, and so then you have to work your way all the way back to that massive pile of souls that you just lost, and then potentially getting killed again and losing all of them.
There's actually quite a lot of loot, Dave.
That sounds so nice.
There's actually a lot of loot, Dave.
A game that punishes me and gives me loot, but I have to work for it. Sold. Punish me, Dark Souls, punish me.
Get the whip out.
You really, though, like, with all of the build options, weapon options, like, you could, and I think, from what I've read, like, once the game is over, you have New Game Plus. I think there are multiple levels of New Game Plus where it just gets worse and worse and worse. From what I understand.
For the real gluttons among you.
So, I'm pretty, like, you could really, like, have an entirely different experience just about every single time.
You can have an entirely more terrible experience every time you play it.
Well, terrible yet wonderful. Terrible in, like, the same way God is terrible, I suppose. Like, you fear it, with a reverence.
Now, do you think they should jump in and play Dark Souls 2? I don't even know how the story is going to go.
That's what I was wondering. Is maybe just try and.
I wonder if to play 2, because I think that the intro will be a little bit easier to get into. Because I mean, I'm once I get Dark Souls 2s, I'm going to probably switch over from 1 to 2, and I'm going to still come back and finish 1. But I've just been watching all the gameplay clips.
I'll be done with 1 by. Excuse me. By the time 2 comes out. Well, since I'm gonna.
I can smell the Dorito breath.
It was actually bulletproof coffee, so that was coffee with butter in it. So I can only imagine.
Wait. Pause.
You don't know about this? You were the one who told me about keto.
Yeah, but coffee with butter in it?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Is it instead of like sugared creamer? Is that what it's for?
It's grass-fed butter, so you have to get like Kerrygold or something like that, and it's basically like, and MCT oil. So you blend it, and you gotta blend it together, and it makes like a latte. You put like some sort of they're just some syrup that's without sugar, and it's like a latte that has 500 calories worth of fat. Pure fat.
Speaking of coffee, we actually had a coffee question in the chat earlier.
This is not turning into a coffee podcast, but I'll let you have this one.
It was a legit question. It's lost somewhere up there. Someone asked me what kind of coffee I drink because they're looking into different coffees, and I'm not really the greatest person to ask because I enjoy coffee, but more of like a pragmatic version of it. Like I want
the pragmatic,
caffeine.
the crack addict version. Dave's like, "What do you got? What do you got? Dale Browns? I'll take them."
I'm not really a coffee like connoisseur. I'm not really picky about it. Although I do really dislike some of the I don't do like Kroger budget coffee. I'm not a big fan of Folgers.
Oh, good. I thought there's some standards.
I'm a fan of the middle ground coffee. Like, I found 8 o'clock coffee to be a nice like middle ground between value and taste. 8 o'clock original. Although I just picked up a bag from Walmart today for our upcoming cabin trip of Dunkin' Donuts coffee, which is delicious. Dunkin' Donuts spiced cinnamon coffee, which should be pretty awesome. But yeah, in general, 8 o'clock is a good value, I think.
8 o'clock Colombian is good. I actually have a burr grinder and a French press and a vacuum pot and all of those.
I'm proud of you, Mark.
Tipping intensifies!
Now that we have a Keurig, like, I'm so lazy, I just, like, if I, you know, I just use you can have your own little K-cup, so I just grind up enough to put in one of those, and then I don't have to get out, you know, the thermometer and everything for the French press, and, yeah, but
that sounds amazing.
I have nothing to contribute to this. It's very amusing because like I'm this nerdy about plenty of things. This is just something I have no appreciation of, so it's just funny to hear.
I think a TLDR, for my opinion on coffee, is like I can really appreciate and enjoy like a really nice coffee. Just most of the time, I'm way too cheap to buy it.
Yeah, I actually don't really go for the extravagant stuff very often. But drink it black, folks. You don't need that other junk in it. Like butter.
Raw honey is amazing in coffee.
Yes.
And I get really bad allergies like every spring. So if I do local raw honey, it prevents my nose from like gushing blood.
Are you getting
every
actual
other
raw
day.
honey? I think I asked you about this recently. Are you getting actual raw honey or just local honey?
Whatever I can find, honestly.
I mean,
Sometimes
'cause
it's
you know, raw. There's a difference between raw and local.
Yes, that is
Okay,
correct.
okay. Because usually raw you have to buy just from like a friend you know, because you're not supposed to sell it as a food product or whatever. You could
most
sell
of
it
what
as
I find
a
is just
dietary
local.
supplement because there's no regulation on that.
Yeah.
But,
Coffee is my dietary supplement.
that's weird.
Joel,
Yes, Mark?
have you invaded many people yet, or been invaded very often in Dark Souls?
I got invaded, I think, twice, and I died.
Okay.
That was that was early when I like hated the game. But since I have not been invaded, I've mostly like gone in as a ghost and help other people like defeat the boss or something to kind of just get some extra souls to level up or whatever. But mostly I've been trying to just play with my friend, and I think my Wi-Fi router has something to do with like Open NAT or something like that, because we cannot join a game together for some reason. Except I can join everyone else's, so I don't know what's going on.
It's
So Dark Souls 2 is apparently fixing that, so its Wi-Fi is going to work so much better in the server system too.
I've been invaded many times. I've only prevailed once.
People like Mark a lot.
Yeah.
He just says that "come hither," you know, gamer tag, and there's like, this'll do. When you invade people, can you like pick the name of someone you're invading, or is it just
No,
like you're ready to go on the warpath and they give you a victim?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, because like the other night I got invaded and just like completely destroyed. Like a lot of the people who invade seem to have been using builds that are, you know, much lighter on their feet. Like I'm essentially a tank, and when you're invaded, that's like completely the wrong kind of build to have, because people will just like bounce all around you and use ranged weapons, and I'll be like trying to catch up just to get like one hit in. And so I got like destroyed the other night, and I just got so angry that I invaded some other guy and just like completely destroyed him. So out of anger. So yeah, that component of it is fun as well.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Dave,
hold on. I will be right back.
Dave, there's so many armor sets too. I love that. Like I have one that you walk really slow, and you can hear the chain link metal and everything as you're walking really slow, and especially when you get to this little like foresty garden area or something. It's just so cool, like the sound of the swamp, and there's just no music, and it's just quiet, and it's really awesome. But then like you have to choose between moving quick, or having a bigger shield, or no shield but having more damage with two hands, or it's so cool, dude. Like I'm really surprised. Like it rarely ever happens like that in a game where I'm like, oh, I hate this, and then I love it. Like that just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it doesn't. All right, as we wrap down the podcast tonight, we are now going to go to 90 seconds with Joel, the part of the podcast where Joel talks about something for 90 seconds.
You usually say longer than 90 seconds.
It normally is longer than 90 seconds, but you've done a couple short ones in a row, so go for it.
I'll try to keep that standard up then. Okay, today, everyone, on 60 Seconds with me.
90 seconds, Joel. It's called 90 Seconds with Joel. And you've said 60 seconds the last, 3 times you've done this.
Hi, guys. My name is Tom. I keep forgetting who I am every 60 seconds. No, today there was a article on IGN interview with Hideo Kojima, who is, for anyone who doesn't know, is a Metal Gear Solid creator. And something he said I thought was just interesting, something I kind of resonated with. But he says, with the new Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out, people want to know, what is with this Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes? So there's Metal Gear Solid 5, which is going to be the full game. But he's releasing, I think, in a couple weeks, I believe, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, which is just a mini, small taste of the game. And it's set, I think, a couple years before the actual main game. And I think it's one open world map, and there's several objectives and stuff, but it just gives you can see the graphics, you can see just a mini early story, kind of like just, what do you call it before a movie starts? What is it called?
Preview?
Prologue?
Prologue, there we go.
Prologue.
It's like a prologue of the main game. Anyways, so people were like, why are you pushing this out because you can't get the other game finished? But anyways, he says he thinks that gamers aren't as interested in high-end games anymore. He is releasing Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes early so that people hopefully will be interested in playing Metal Gear Solid 5 when it actually comes out. He is nervous that people just can't or won't want to play a game that has a longer story anymore. Now, this is for just to get the bigger picture. Ground Zeroes, he says that Metal Gear Solid 5 is 200 times bigger than Ground Zeroes.
200 times?
200 times.
All right.
It's a massively open world where this is a game where he's been wanting to do for so many years, and the graphics finally caught up that he's able to do what he wants. And it's basically fully open world where you can take on a mission however you want. You can sneak up the long way. You can drive in vehicles. You can do whatever you want. So I can imagine the game's going to be big if he says it, Unless Ground Zeroes is literally like a 4x4 square map, and it's like 200 times bigger, yay!
Never lied before.
Yeah, but anyways, he was just saying that he's nervous, so he wants to release Ground Zeroes because he's hoping people will not going to lose interest to be able to play the game when it actually does come out. And I honestly kind of agree with him in the sense that I think a lot more people are wanting little tidbits of information. I mean, Twitter doesn't help. Social media doesn't really help with that, where people are used to just no, give it to me in 5 seconds, Give it to me in 3 seconds. I mean, what is it going to be, a 1 second word, just a blurb of, code letters in the future? But I just thought that was an interesting, thing, and that's got to be sad if you're someone who's spending so much time on a game, especially for people who are fans of the original game, the first couple games that were really quite hardcore, and they had a very in-depth story, and you had to follow along, But here he's going to release a game that's going to be just mind-blowing, supposedly, with story and just longevity, and he's like, crap, will people at all even appreciate a kind of game like this anymore? Whether or not hopefully it's going to be good, but he's really worried about that. Especially even with Metal Gear Solid 5 with Grand Theft Auto 5 coming out. Yeah, it has a longer story, but people immediately just jump into multiplayer, and that's pretty much all they play now.
And then take their pants off.
Pretty much. And yeah, I do that too, but I did play I did play the single player.
He does actually.
Our group of Grand Theft Auto 5, we go shirtless, pantless, and we just have these short, tight tights. And we just wear cowboy boots and a fedora, and we mostly pink if we can, and we just surround other people, and we just make people really awkward. It's really fun.
Yeah, and you make them awkward. Yeah.
Not us.
It's all them. They're the weird ones.
Perfectly natural. But anyways, what do people think about that?
Was that 90 seconds?
It was longer. But yeah, I think it's odd that they're releasing kind of the prologue thing. I think they're probably doing that because the IP of Metal Gear is so well respected that tons of people will buy it for $30 and they'll make millions of dollars to hold them off for a couple more years while they finish making the game. That's the skeptic in me.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 sold pretty well, but not amazingly.
Yeah, but it's very well respected.
But not like Snake Eater. With Metal Gear Solid 3, it sold really well. It sold better than 4, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what if they're going, hey, are people forgetting about the brand? and it's not going to be an exciting
It's a possibility.
release.
I mean,
it could be that
My
too.
brand.
It's one of the oldest running PlayStation IPs now. It's pretty much that and Gran Turismo, I think. And the most recent Gran Turismo is not doing very well. But
at least, it'll be a good way to determine whether or not you want to play the full game and have to hear Kiefer Sutherland instead of David Hayter.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about that yet.
I still feel like that's going to be a trick. I feel like that's still a trick.
From the amount of time I've spent watching the trailer, the gameplay trailer, I think I can tolerate his voice enough by now.
About the trick thing, Joel, people were saying that about Splinter Cell. I was actually kind of upset about Michael Ironside. Was that his name?
Oh, yeah. Dude, he was awesome.
Yeah, and I don't really like the new guy either, but oh well, you get over it. But
yeah, it's like he's not bad. It's just he's young. I think that was the biggest thing I didn't like about the game is that it's just a younger guy again. Right. Where it's supposed to be after the last one, but I like the older, grizzly guy. I mean, heck, I'll take Liam Neeson over any young guy, just because I love the older, grizzly, retired dude.
You like those old grizzly bears, do you?
They keep you warm at night.
All right, and before we end the podcast tonight, I'm just going to cut that right there. Dave, do you have a comment of the week for us?
I actually have 2 comments of the week. These aren't quite as...
This section is where Dave plumbs the depths of the YouTube comment section and enlightens us all with the whatever everyone has in their minds this week. What do you have for us, Dave?
I actually don't have one, totally awesome, over-the-top comment, but I got 2 comments in the last week that for some reason, when I read them in my comments inbox, I just read them in one of those fake Russian accents, like FPS Russia style, and it just really worked for these 2 comments.
All right.
So I'm going to read the title of the video and then the comment for you guys. First comment is from 2 different people, by the way. They just sound very, very similar in their style of writing. First comment is on my How to Kill Battlefield 4 Campers video, where I killed some base campers with a jet. He comments, "This is why I become sub. You have so many skills in jet." It just really worked.
This is what I'm looking for. You, Jetman, I shall follow you.
Many skill in jet. And then a comment on one of our Daisy Wanderer episodes, I think episode 11, the ship hits the fan. Someone commented, "You guys are joke." Both of those comments just really felt like FPS Russia style commenting for me, so that's my comments of the week. Hey, if Joel gets more time, I get more time.
No, you're good. As we wrap down tonight, we are probably not going to have a podcast next week unless we do it on Tuesday, which I feel, being 2 days from now is probably not going to happen.
No.
But we're going to be on vacation next week.
Are we going to do a cabin cast?
We can do a cabin cast.
That sounds awesome and a little weird.
I've been listening to our drive cast.
Oh, dude, you gotta release that.
It's a little hard to hear, but I might release some of it and see what people think. And if people like it, I'll release the rest. Maybe do that for next week. But yeah, there won't be a live podcast next week. But thank you all for listening to this one. Let us know if you like watching this on Twitch, better or worse than YouTube. Don't leave a comment on Twitch because I'm about to close it down and I won't see it. But tweet at us or leave a comment on the YouTube video when it goes up early this week. And let us know what you think. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, you probably were not aware that we were on Twitch tonight, so who cares? But
so that is irrelevant.
Actually, thank you everyone who listens through iTunes. There's a lot of you. We like you. We appreciate you. Okay.
I think it's the best way to listen.
Follow us at Casual Shenanigans, at JERMgaming, at Evil Viking, and then also on YouTube. And remember, you can always send in your questions or comments or anything to casualshenanigans@gmail.com. But for now, we're going to go. If you don't have any big plans, you ought to tune in to Cat Melosion with Scanner Barkley, which is starting in 14 minutes. I'm going to be actually a guest tonight. That's not why I'm telling you to tune in. It's a legitimately entertaining podcast. Dave was on it a few weeks back, and I'm going on tonight to be an emergency sloppy seconds fill-in for for the real guests, which couldn't make it. But no, I'm looking forward to it. So if you're not busy, go head on over there. But yeah, anyone have anything very final before we close out the podcast tonight?
Nope.
Bye.
Well, that's a little premature, but that's okay. Mark. That's kind of
I'm looking forward to playing Titanfall with you guys.
Yes, I'm looking forward.
I'm waiting here. I'm waiting here for you guys.
I have 32-bit, so I can't.
Well, you'll be getting 64 soon, Mark, and all will be right in the world. But thank you guys for watching, and as always, stay casual.
You guys?
Oh, yeah.